everyone, my name is Maki. I come from Japan, a military base of Saft, located at Space Colony. Today, I will carry out the introduction of an incredibly powerful mobile suit. Please behold this form. Its name is CGUE. It's the next generation mass production mobile suit that the Saft Army takes pride in. It is a unit that has been greatly enhanced from the thing, which has achieved significant success against the Earth Alliance forces. If this CGUE is formally mass-produced, the Earth Alliance forces will be nothing more than mere small fry, abundant in numbers only. Let's create the glorious history of Saft together. Now, let's thoroughly study the CGUE today. The war between Saft and the Earth Alliance forces showed developments that surprised the entire world. Nobody doubted the victory of the Earth forces, who had an overwhelming numerical advantage. However, Saft overturned the war situation with a new type of mobile weapon called mobile suits. Saft's mobile suits, such as the Jing, demonstrated an overwhelming power difference compared to the Earth Alliance's old weaponry. The Earth Alliance forces were barely able to compete with Saft through sheer numbers. Then came March 15th, in Cosmic Era 70. Saft decided to execute Operation Euros, a large-scale operation against Earth. As the operation was approved by Planet's Supreme Council, they announced the deployment of new mobile suits to the whole world. Among the new mobile suits revealed was the CGUE. The CGUE was developed as a superior model to the Jing, which had been a great success. While inheriting the features of the Jing, significant improvements were made in mobility by increasing the number of thrusters and their power output. Particularly distinct from the Jing are the large wings, and thrusters mounted on the shoulders and waist. The wing binders on the back have been angled, and the thrusters and heat vents have been enlarged. Enhanced and upgraded versions of the weapons used by the Jing were provided as standard equipment, along with new weapons developed from data gathered on the battlefield. In Gundam Seed, the CGUE often appears as a command unit. However, the CGUE itself is not positioned as a command unit. In fact, it was planned to be deployed as the next main mass production unit to replace the Jing. It was often operated as a de facto command unit due to its preferential deployment to commanders before full deployment. This setup was influenced by changes made in the real-world settings. In the initial plans of Gundam Seed, there was a setting that Saft would not customize their units like the original Gundam Sea and Army, but instead changed to new mobile suits with promotions. This setting no longer exists, but the frequent appearance of the CGUE as a command unit was influenced by this initial concept. One of the early deployed CGUEs became the unit of Ouroboros. Before the story began, in the war known as the Battle of Ouroboros, shot down 37 mobile armors. He also destroyed 6 battleships. The CGUE deployed to Saft's hero was painted in his personal color of silver. This color would later be inherited by other CGUEs. The CGUE was completed as an exceedingly well-balanced and high-performing unit. Along with the hero Creed, it brought much terror to the Earth forces. However, the CGUE and Creed brought about an even greater military achievement. Ironically, this achievement greatly changed the fate of the CGUE. Data from the GAT-X series stolen by Creed from the Earth forces surprised Saft. They believed that miniaturized and high-performance beam weapons were essential to counter Earth's mobile suits. Thus, a lot of funds and personnel were used to develop the next main mass production mobile suit, called Gates. so the CGUE was produced only in small numbers. Although it was not developed specifically as a command unit in reality, many CGUEs were operated as command units on the battlefield. But the development of gates was also due to the achievements brought by the CGUE and Crete. It can be considered a great contributor to Zaft. Also, the Ding, an aerial mobile suit, was born by reusing the excellent design during the same period. In the era of Gundam Sea Destiny, a successor called Baby was born. But that's not all. It was also used as a test body for experimenting with phase shift armor. In Zaft and played an active role as a test unit for the massive equipment unit called METEOR. Observing history like this, the genes of the CGUE are inherited by heroes who ended the war like Freedom Gundam and METEOR. It is well known that Gates data was extensively used in Freedom Gundam's design. But the data provided by the CGUE was also greatly utilized, and that Freedom Gundam would challenge the Providence Gundam piloted by the former hero Raoul Crete. What kind of weapons did the CGUE use? At first glance, it possesses equipment that doesn't greatly differ from the Zin, but all of these have been improved as well. First is the 76mm heavy assault machine gun. This is an improved version of the machine gun used by the Zin and is also used by the Ding, its sibling unit. The use of enhanced bullets is also a feature. The scene where Cruz, after hearing reports from his subordinates, fires at the Stray Gundam is striking. He was surprised, saying, "Is it ineffective even with these enhanced bullets?" It's a scene where you can understand that it has been enhanced to the extent that Cruz, the ace pilot, could feel the increase in power. This machine gun can switch between fully automatic firing mode and semi-automatic mode for precise shooting, just like the Zin's equipment. Pay attention to the scenes where it is fired in both continuous and single-shot modes. If you look at the beginning of the story, you can confirm single-shot firing in scenes like shooting down the Archangel's missiles. Next, let me explain about the heavy slash braid. An improved model of Zin's MAM3, it is assigned the model number MAM4. When not in use, it's mounted on the side of the back thrusters. The braid was developed by Made Sasano, who also developed the exterior armor of ships. Part of the braid is hollowed out to reduce weight. In the series, it is quickly wetted and used with the arm equipped with the shield. It's a weapon with the weight and destructive power that allows it to be used nimbly even when flying at high speeds. Next, let's talk about the 28mm Vulcan System internal shield. This is a weapon not equipped on the Zin. It's a weapon with Vulcan guns mounted on the inside of the shield. Zin was a weapon overwhelmingly advantageous against Earth's military mobile armor. However, it was not completely invincible. There were scenes where it was defeated by attacks from multiple enemy units. This shield was designed to deal with multi-on-one combat situations against Earth's Alliance mobile armor. Along with the standard machine gun, it allows dealing with multiple enemies while immediately defending with the shield. Also, the ability to conserve ammunition as much as possible was part of this equipment's mission. CGUE's shield was simply a combination of a shield and Vulcan guns. However, there existed a similar concept but complex structure, trick arrows captured from the Earth Alliance's Brits Gundam. By combining it with trick heroes data, it later evolved into armaments used by Zacht's mobile suits. You can see its influence on Gate's shield and Providence Gundam's shield. It is unknown whether this shield has any processing such as beam coating. However, in the series, since it is defending against Stray Gundam's Beam Saber and Schwarzeber, the likelihood of beam coating being applied is extremely high. Without beam coating, it is almost impossible to defend against beam weapons. The above is the standard equipment for CGUE. However, there are other weapons it was equipped with. First is the M68 Catis 500 millions recoilless cannon. You can confirm the CGUE equipped with this during the attack on the Renegade Zacht Battleship Eternal. As CGUE is designed as a successor to the Zin, it can be assumed that it can use all the Zin's equipment. Please refer to this when playing with plastic models or figures. And surprisingly, there are also scenes where it uses a beam rifle. When Gundam Siege was first aired, CGUE was attacking an Earth Alliance base using a beam rifle. Considering the passage of time, since the GAT-X series was captured and the completion of Gate's development, this scene is not strange at all. However, this scene was corrected to a machine gun in the remastered version. It appears to have been a mistake by the production team. However, CGUE's ability to use a beam rifle was not a mistake. Let's pay attention to the story where Cruz fights in the Mendel colony space. After losing Gay in the fight with Freedom Gundam, Cruz redeploys in the CGUE. At that time, the weapon equipped on the CGUE is a beam rifle. This scene remains the same even in the remastered version. A beam rifle is necessary when dealing with phase-shift armored machines. Considering encounters with Freedom, Strike or Buster, it's a natural decision. And there are indeed scenes where it uses the beam rifle to defeat Strike Dagger. From this, we can understand that CGUE's generator has the output to allow the use of a beam rifle. However, there is only one scene where it fires. The number of times it can fire remains unknown. The CGUE made its battlefield debut as a mobile suit piloted by Raul Creed upon hearing reports from his subordinates who had infiltrated Heliopolis. Creed decided to see the enemy with his own eyes and resolved to either capture or destroy them. Mulov Girl of the Earth Alliance forces detected the presence of the departing Creed. The two began to battle, but Creed quickly disengaged, prioritizing the remaining capture target, Stray Gundam. However, this decision did not mean he completely ignored Mu. Mu's Mobius Zero pursued Creed's CGUE inside the space colony. CGUE and Mobius Zero commenced battle again. However, the interior of the massive structure favored the more agile mobile suit. Moreover, Mobius Zero's wired gun barrel was a weapon ill-suited for places with many structures. Creed was balancing his priority target and a more favorable battlefield against Mobius Zero. Mobius Zero quickly had its weapon parts destroyed, and CGUE continued to invade the interior of space colony Heliopolis. In this battle, CGUE and Mobius Zero were flying through the air. However, they don't inherently possess the capability of free flight. This is due to the space colony's structure generating gravity through rotation. The space colony rotates to create dust-like gravity on the surface, which weakens as one moves away from it. The same reason is behind the scenes where many mobile suits are flying in Gundam Figure 91. Let's return to CGUE's exploits approaching Stray Gundam. CGUE destroyed the pursuing Mobius Zero's linear gun. With this, Mobius Zero completely lost its attack ability. It was a scene that showed Creed's high ability to prioritize capture targets while neutralizing enemies. When the opportunity arose, however, as CGUE approached, a large explosion occurred, and the Archangel appeared before it. Creed attacked the Archangel but was evaded. This scene revealed Archangel's superior mobility over other Earth Alliance warships as it dodged attacks from Creed, who had destroyed numerous battleships. Also, CGUE was seen changing the machine gun magazine, a detail only visible in this scene. The fact that used magazines could be discarded without hands, and that CGUE had a place to equip spare magazines, became clear. The Archangel targeted CGUE with a missile attack. Creed destroyed 2 missiles with his machine gun, but the rest hit Helioporus' shaft. Whether this evasion was deliberate is unclear, but it certainly worked in Creed's favor. Threatened by the damage CGUE inflicted on Helioporus, Kira attacked with launcher strikes Aggie. CGUE evaded but lost its machine gun to Aggie's powerful beam. The arm's condition remained unclear, hidden from view, but the smoke and the warning buzzers and lights flashing inside the cockpit indicated that it likely suffered damage as well. Creed was surprised to have taken damage, despite his substantial evasion. This ended CGUE's debut battle in the TV anime. CGUE continued to shine in various battlefields, and also appeared in the sequel, Gundam Seed Destiny. However, due to its limited production numbers, it appeared less frequently than other mass-produced mobile suits. CGUE only appears twice in the first episode, once flying towards the Storm Gundams, and once being destroyed by Gaia Gundam. These subtle moments reflecting detailed settings are one of the very intriguing aspects of the Gundam series. That concludes our overview of the CGUE. The Zim plays the role similar to the Zaku in the original Gundam series. Some might think that the CGUE serves a role like Shell's custom Zaku, a command-type customized Zaku. But upon closer observation of the settings, that's not the case. In the original Gundam series, it's understood to be in a position akin to the dog or the Geldue. However, it appeared so early on that it ended up yielding its praise to the gates. Many people likely admire the cool design of the CGUE. I personally love the way it's equipped with weapons on both arms. What elements of the CGUE do you find cool? Feel free to tell me in the comments. Lastly, I have urgent news to share with you. A new type of Gundam, which was being secretly developed in your city, has been stolen. It's your mission to capture or defeat this mobile suit. By pressing the subscribe button, the CGUE hidden in your home's basement will activate. Unlock the hatch with the like button and ignite the thrusters with the bell button. I wish you the best of luck. Let's fight for that. I hope to see you again in the next episode of the show. Take care.